Tonight's guest really needs no introduction. He's had a career in entertainment for over 50 years. Started acting as a 19, 20-year-old and became a household name because he is a sexy, sexy man. We moved to Vegas around the same time, but prior to that, we worked together in Los Angeles on and off on a few projects. You may know him from shows such as T.J. Hooker or the feature film Grease 2. I simply know him as one of my dear friends. Please welcome Adrian Zmed, everybody. Come on, brother, get up here. I prepared nothing.
That's all right.
I prepared nothing. Sit down, sit down. It's so great to see you. Thank you for making time.
I think I've known this guy as long as his parents have known him.
Settle. That means my mom knew you. How are you?
I'm good. You looking good, pal?
Please, you look
Before
amazing.
we start, this is the best thing that's ever happened to Las Vegas, right here. This guy. Since the mob, nothing better than him. Honestly.
How do you think I can? I just had to thank the sponsors, bro, but really, the mob is what keeps me going.
He takes care of the city, really. And he's a trumpet, too. It's amazing.
Okay, listen, let's just dive in, brother. I want to know about, I don't know, all the things. Where do we start? When you woke up one day and said, hey, I'm going to be an actor.
Actually, I broke my leg playing football in high school.
Yeah.
And I went to an all-guy high school in Chicago.
I did too.
Called Lane Tech. It was 5,000 guys. And my gymnastics teacher at the school said to I'll go back even further. But what happened was that I heard that they were auditioning for a musical at the school, and that there were going to be girls imported from all of the Catholic girls' high schools. So I became an actor because I wanted to meet girls. It was either football or acting. So
what was the first big break? Because obviously it predates Hooker and Grease. What was the first big?
The original Grease tour was the second national tour, and then actually I was going to hang it all up. I thought my dad was right. I should have become an architect instead. I spent years in Chicago trying to get my equity card. Well, thank you, sir.
Here we go. Before we go on,
Thank you.
Cheers.
What is this made of?
Let's go, Wes. Tell us what it is.
This is the Cassie. It's gonna be watermelon syrup, lilac blanc, some lemon, and flecha.
Bro, you got the best accent ever. Where are you from?
From Puerto Rico.
Ah. How long you been at Cassie?
2 years now.
It's a great spot. Have you guys been to Cassie at Virgin? Let's be honest, it's the only reason why we go to Virgin is for Cassie. But cheers, thank you for being here. Appreciate you, man. Thank you. Adrian, cheers.
To Silver State education.
Thanks, Wes. Appreciate you. Oh my God, that's good. And that's like,
is
what's
really
that
good.
stuff on the
That is plenty good.
Mm-hmm. Okay, keep going.
Okay, where was I?
You were at an all-gay high school.
No, I was at my pretty much.
No. Listen, I was too. Those priests.
Well, I had studied acting at the Goodman in Chicago, and I graduated, and I thought there's a lot of acting in Chicago. You know, there's more acting, theater in Chicago per capita than in New York City, actually. And I couldn't get my equity card, and I said, my dad was right, I should have been an architect. So I enrolled in architecture school, and I got a call from somebody who had seen me in a lot of productions at the Goodman, and they said, they're auditioning for this. And this was in like it was actually in 1976. So Grease had been on Broadway maybe about 4 years at that point. But people still didn't know what Grease was. It was a Broadway show. There was no movie. And they said, there's a show called Grease. And I had already known about it because it started in Chicago at the Kingston Mines Theater, at a little 99-seat theater in Chicago. And I had actually auditioned for the original Grease in Chicago and got the part of Duty, but my dad wouldn't let me do it because I was failing in math. So, to make a long story short, I enrolled in architecture school, and they said they're auditioning, and it literally starts Monday. They haven't found, what they're looking for. I auditioned, and the next thing, my parents are from the old country, from Romania. When I got home, I was bartending at the time.
As we do.
On Rush Street. If you're an actor, you're a bartender. My mother, I walked in the door, and my mother said, someone from Greece called you. What you want talking to Greece for? And I said, oh, my God. And I got well, first of all, I had to fly out to see the director. First time I had ever been on an airplane, actually. and I was terrified. And I went and I got it. And I played Danny Zuko on the second national tour. Then I went to Broadway, and I wanted to stay in New York. I was doing really well. I was just offered Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. And I didn't do it because my manager convinced me to go to Hollywood. And he said, you know what, Adrian? Broadway will always be there for you.
100%.
This is your time. And he was right. And that's what I did. Yeah. And Broadway was. I went back, and I've done about 20, 30 Broadway shows at this point.
Yeah. But let's get into the film and TV world because, yeah, right? Big time. We've shared the stage a couple of occasions, but
yes, we did.
We don't need to talk about those productions.
No. He played my son. He played my son in this really beautiful musical about the Queen of Sheba and King Solomon. Yeah. And he was a very
I was a eunuch.
Son.
I don't know what I was. I don't know. T.J. Hooker.
Yeah, T.J.
Right?
Hooker.
Because I can admit I was a T.J. Hooker fan, as I'm sure many of you were. What was that like?
Well, you know,
that's
I
game
had
changer
done
shit. That's stardom shit.
Well, Tim Conway back in the day said, 13 episodes on the air and people will start to know you. And that is the magic number. Yeah. I had done 3 series before that. Yeah. And in fact, it's the third one. No, the third one
what
was
were the
called,
3 series before TJ?
One was called Flatbush. One was called...
There's a joke there.
No. No. It was a takeoff on Saturday Night Fever and Flatbush Avenue and stuff like that. Oh, another one.
Also
the
a part
Good
of
Time
Vegas
Girls.
that I frequent very frequently.
There was another one called The Good Time Girls. It had a phenomenal cast. Georgia Engel, Annie Potts, Peter Scolari, who became my best friend. We were number 7 in the ratings when we were canceled. And we had no idea why we were canceled. 3 or 4 years later, we found out that it was ABC. It was an ABC show. They had a psychic on staff who said that we were not going to be a top 10 show the next year. That's Hollywood, folks. Psychics calling the shot. But I had done a couple of series. So Hooker was a 2-hour movie pilot. Yeah. And it was actually about 12 other rookie cops and William Shatner being the teacher, the sergeant. And by the time it went from the 2-hour pilot, it was just him and me in a squad car. Yeah. So that it really was my big break.
What was that relationship like you? Because first of all, growing up in Canada, obviously William Shatner's like
he's a god.
He's the king of Canada.
Yeah.
You know, he's the Donald Trump of Canada. If he wanted to become the prime minister, he could, and he could.
95.
He can. Yeah, listen.
95. I just saw him a few weeks ago. He looks incredible.
What was that like sharing the screen with him? But like not just that. Behind like sitting there having lunch.
There was actually no competition between us whatsoever because he was so much older than I was, and he was my mentor. And I really learned a lot from Bill. I was a new kid, and I had not done very much on film. I had done a lot of theater at that time, but just watching him in a close-up, I said, why am I trying to cure cancer with my acting? Why am I trying so hard? Look at what he's doing. It's all right here. It's all right here. So much so that I learned so much from him that I teach master classes at Stella Adler, and I started a class called Theater to Film, taking that energy, taking that big energy and putting it in your eyes and stuff. But honestly, he and I were like 2 kids playing cops and robbers. We had a blast, 13 hours a day, and we played practical jokes on each other all the time. And I just learned so much from him and all. And I don't know if he just came out with his daughter saying that they had both of them battled cancer and they are cancer free at this point. It's just within the past week. He did this, and he's quite he doesn't do everything that he does for money. He does it because he loves working. And I think that's why he's 95 and has everything going on in his brain just right.
It's so refreshing to hear you say that because a lot of people ask me a lot of the time, like, how do you do so much? Why your hands in so many pots? It's because I actually love it. Like, I love the hustle, and I think it's because when you're 19, 20 years old and you move to the big city and you're chasing an acting career, you're constantly told no, and you have to figure out a way to pay the bills. And Cheryl and I still talk about this. The 27th of the month, 13 years ago, I say this a lot, you've heard me say this, but 13 years ago, I came here to open Rock of Ages, but 13 years ago, 1 week ago, I was a bartender in downtown Los Angeles, and Cheryl and I would look at each other on the 27th of the month, and I'd say, are you working a double or am I? Because rent is due in 3 days. And that's the life of an artist, because it's all we know. All we want to do is rip scripts apart and be other people. So there's this passion and this drive.
Bill had been there, and he told
course
me
he
about
has. He
the
talks
years
about it.
after Star Trek that he lived in a motorhome, you know, in a trailer, for crying out loud. And kids, he would park just the trailer part. It would go on the back of a pickup. He'd park just the so it looked like a little spaceship. And as kids walked by and recognized him, they thought Captain Kirk was living in a spaceship on their block all the time. But he always
you got a
told
gym
me,
membership. This is I'm going to let you a little peek behind the curtain. We would get gym memberships and make sure we always maintained our gym membership over our rent because we knew we had a place to shower before an audition.
It's true.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead.
But we did play a lot of practical jokes, and there are so many, I can't even tell you how many there are, but I do have to share one thing with
Please.
you all. You know how Bill has that pattern where he talks in spurts like that all the time? Well, this is what I learned from him. He doesn't talk that way. You've seen him on talk shows. He's looking for his cue cards. He could start a speech, and the words are on a desk right down there, and then it runs out of the words, and then they're up there. So, and then he runs out of the words, and then they're over there. And that's where the pattern comes from. He's always looking for his cue cards. He's memorized where to look for his cue cards. And the practical jokes, he did this one thing. He got this one thing, you know, those machines that make your abs, they electrocute your abs.
Yeah.
And you can, you know, do like 100 sit-ups in 2 minutes
I
and
use
not
it on
do a
other
thing.
parts of
he says,
my
oh,
body.
Adrian, I got this incredible. See? You know,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
He's like, I got this incredible thing.
It's
right
the
now.
of glove.
They asked me to try it out. So he invited me to his motorhome. He hooked it up, and he showed me how it goes and everything. And I saw it just spurting and electrocuting him occasionally. And so I decided to play a joke on him. And at lunchtime, I would see him get in line for the caterer, and then I'd run over to his motorhome, and then I'd go over to his machine, and I would turn the dial up a tiny bit each day. Each day it would go up just a smidgen. Till about a week later, I knocked on his door, and he said, come in. Bill, what's up? You're sweating. He says, I don't know. This thing is killing me right now. I have no idea why it's like. I had to fess up and tell him that I was turning it up all week. So that's the kind of stuff we did.
You've been in Vegas now about as long as I have, a little bit before. Life's been very good to you here. Wife,
Yes.
amazing life.
I married a singer here from Vegas. I have a wonderful wife, and everything's. I love Vegas. It's a beautiful. Honestly, it's like living in the San Fernando Valley in L.A. I'm in Summerlin, and it's like no different. You know what I mean? Everybody is connected to the entertainment section, just like in the San Fernando Valley, and we all squeeze our tomatoes at the Smiths. You know what I mean? And yeah. You know, so I'm not going to sing. I'm not going to dance. Tonight, I'm not used
No,
to,
I
or
wanna-
I'm used to escorting Jennifer Romas with the
Yeah,
Super Soaker.
no, I
Let me
know.
explain that.
I wanted you to be here to just like have a conversation because, like I said, we've sung our faces off on stages, and like you mentioned, Bill being your mentor. When I had the privilege to share the stage with you, I remember calling home to my parents because this was 20 plus years ago. We shared the stage together. And I remember calling home and saying to Mom and Dad, I said, you're never going to believe this. I said, I'm doing a show in Los Angeles, and Adrian Zmed is the star. And my mom was like, no way. And that was the first gig for me where my parents actually were like, kids maybe got something going for them.
Yeah.
And they came out to see it, and we've been friends ever since. And it's been a privilege to be able to share the stage with you, but not only that, just to be able to call you a friend and say, hey, you want to come and sit on my road case? And he takes the call and says, what the fuck are you talking about, road case? What is this? Do I have to sing? I don't want to sing. I was like, no, we're going to shoot the shit. I'm going to talk about hooker. And he's like, okay, we can talk about hookers.
Yeah, when I first met this guy, I fell in love with this guy the moment I saw him. He was such a hard worker and so talented in so many ways. And then we stayed friends after the show was called Sheba. And he says, hey, Adrian, he calls me up out of the blue and says, I'm building a theater. a 99-seat house. So he says, you want to help me? So I came over and I put in a couple of chairs for him, you know what I mean? Pounded them into the floor. Then he calls me up a few months later and he says, hey, I got this place. I'm renting this place out in Malibu, for crying out loud. I drive up and he's living in a glass house in Malibu, for crying out loud. I said, I want to live here. How do you do this kind of stuff?
Hooker. I watched your show and became a good one. Before we wrap, no, listen, hustle. You taught me a lot, man. And listen, I wanna have you here. You need to do your own show here. You sing like 3 songs and just tell fucking stories because
Sure, yeah.
you don't need to sing. You don't
I'm
need to
actually
dance.
going to put something together with my sons,
I want you to
yeah.
because, and this in no means in an inappropriate way, but what my mom did a few years ago back in my hometown is she started bringing people to our home that we grew up in and putting a camera on a tripod and letting them just speak and getting these oral histories, because what we're inundated with now on social, on our phones, is so just bullshit and fictitious, essentially.
Yeah,
We can create
yeah.
whatever we want, and we throw it up there and we slap it on there and we get clicks. But what we sometimes forget about and we miss, and especially in Las Vegas, on a night where we're celebrating vintage Vegas, are the stories of the why. And you've heard me say this a lot. For me personally, I don't answer a phone call or take a gig or show up anywhere unless the why is strong enough to take some of my time. Because at the end of the day, time is all we're given. And moments like this, my brother, are worth every penny.
Absolutely,
Because we get to spend time together and hear from the horse's mouth about what makes life so cool.
Yeah.
What makes life cool for me is not what I'm scrolling at on my phone in 2 a.m. It's moments like this with you guys and with him where we get to actually experience something for a little bit and go, oh shit, for 2 hours in a random warehouse on the Polaris in Harmon, one of the best neighborhoods in Las Vegas, you've all forgotten about the bullshit that you're dealing with in life, as am I. And that's very important. And sometimes we can't get that escape. And that's the why for me, for why I'm an actor, why I'm a host, why I love to produce, why I keep the space going. Because just like a movie theater, just like the casinos on the Strip, the space offers an escape for us. And this is my escape just as much as it is for you.
And it's live.
Yeah, live is good.
AI cannot replace this, ever.
Before we
A
go,
robot can never do what we do live.
okay, so we have to get an Adrian Zmed night at the space. You'll all come.
All right.
But before we go, Monday's Dark and the Space is always about giving back. Tonight, it's the Silver State Education Foundation. You and your wife are major players in the community. What gets you out of bed? What gets your heart going to give back? What are some causes near and dear to you?
Especially locally, but I actually do it all over the country. I work for the Injured Police Officers Fund. I raise money for the families of fallen officers and officers that are debilitated now at this point. But there's so many charities that I've done over for autism is one of my favorite charities. In fact, back in LA, I was John Travolta's brother, Joey Travolta, started a thing called Actors for Autism, and I was the president of Actors for Autism. So there's every time I'm asked, I will. If I have the time, I will do anything for a charity.
Well, listen, you took my call and you gave me some time tonight, and
You're
I'm
not
so
a charity.
appreciative. I love you, brother. Adrian Zmed, everybody.
I love
Get
you
out
too,
of here.
buddy.
Take your drink.
Take my drink.
Take
All right.
your drink.
Have it. It's really good.
Cheers. Adrian Zmed.
Good to see y'all.